yeah, I'm telling my doctor, you know what? This is not normal. I didn't feel like this with my first child. I don't think this is a normal feeling for it. Literally felt as if the child was just gonna jump out of my vagina. And then um, he did my test and everything else, and then he said to me, now you have to come and see me weekly. So I'm like, okay, fine, doctor. And then I leave his office. So that night, that same night, just after 12, I just felt this gush of water. I thought to myself, how is it possible that I peed in my pants? And then I said to myself, well, I don't make a habit of peeing in my pants, so this has to be my water that's breaking. So I wake my husband up and I'm saying to him, I think my water broke. And he's like, no, your water didn't break. You peed in your pants. Just go clean yourself and everything's gonna be fine. And I'm saying to him, listen here, I didn't pee in my pants, my water broke. And he's just like, you peed in your pants. And I thought to myself, you know what, I wasn't gonna bother with this man. Let me just call my mom. So I phoned my mom, because now we're having an argument about pee and about water that's breaking now, because clearly it wasn't my time. But anyway, so I phoned my mom up and I said to my mom, this is the situation and this baby is really gonna jump out of my vagina now. So my mom makes her way, yeah. So when my mom comes here, my mom's like, where are your bags and everything else? And I'm like, it's in there. And she says, oh, okay. So she goes to the spare room at the time, and when she gets into the spare room, and she asks me, so where is your bag? And I'm like, it's somewhere in one of those bags. And my mom's like, didn't you pack a bag for you? So I said to my mom, no, I didn't pack a bag for me, because at the end of the day, my baby wasn't due anytime soon. I still had like 3 weeks to go, I said to my mom. And yeah, I was gonna pack my bags after that. Anyway, so my mom's stressing on me, I'm stressing on my mom, and this is just not working. There was just chaos between the two of us early hours of the morning. But we managed to get to the hospital, and as we get into the maternity ward, we get into the ward, and my gynecologist walks out of the ward. I promise you guys, when I saw that doctor, I wanted to throttle him. So he still has the audacity to ask me, what are you doing here? And I said to him, but I told you my baby wanted to jump out of my vagina and you didn't believe me. And he's like, no, but you were fine and everything. I said to him, no, I told you, I haven't been fine for like 5 days. I haven't been fine. Anyway, so he says to me, come, get comfortable. But he says to me, he was on his way home and the next relief was coming on. So he explains to me that he's on his way out, but another doctor is coming on for that shift now. So he will assist me with delivering my baby. Okay. So by the time this new doctor comes, they've had a chat already. And when this doctor came to me, he said to me that he needs to administer an epidural, but obviously with my permission, because I was in shock. Seriously, who wouldn't be in shock when you've been telling your doctor for that almost half an hour you've been with him that this baby wants to jump out of your vagina? But anyway, so he explained to me the what's the word that I'm looking for now? He explains to me things that could go wrong if I didn't have the epidural at this time, because I was in shock. Okay, but I promise you guys, I was in shock. So I believed what the doctor had told me, and I was like, you know what, let me have this epidural, because I don't know how I'm going to deal with this. So I had the epidural, and then they explained to me what I can and can't do, because you guys, you need to remember, when an epidural is administered to you, from your waist down, your body is like dead. You can't do anything. So they told me if I needed to move, whatever, I needed to call a nurse to help me until such time that the baby is going to be delivered. Okay, so when baby is time for the baby to be delivered, everyone is there. the most frustrating thing about an epidural is that they tell you to push, and they tell you to push harder, and they tell you you're not pushing hard enough, but you can't feel anything. So you are like almost like half, you're clueless, and you're not sure if you're doing anything right, but they are there to talk you through and everything else. But you personally, for yourself, when you give birth naturally, you can feel the movement, you can feel the baby coming and everything. With an epidural, you just can't feel any of that. So you're basically at the mercy of the nurse, at the mercy of your doctor or whoever. And that is number one. The thing that I hated about the epidural was not being able to feel anything. So like I said, at the mercy of the medical staff, I'm trying to push my best. Okay. And there the baby comes, and it was another boy. So my husband pictures there the next morning, and I'm sitting with my son, and he's like, "Oh, you really had a baby?" And I'm like, "Yes, I really had a baby." So I am ticked off, people, okay? But baby is healthy, and I'm healthy. I'm doing great under the shocked circumstances. And yes, this is the part of the epidural that I hated the most. For the first couple of days after I've had my son, everything was fine, everything was normal, because my body was still healing, trying to transition to what my body used to be like. However, I think after the first 2 weeks, I had started to notice that I couldn't get up normally when I was seated. I needed support when I would get up from wherever I was seated. And I thought to myself, you know what, this is normal. This will go away. And it was a month, and I was still needing support wherever I was seated. I still needed support. So I thought to myself, you know what, maybe it's just for the month. Maybe it will go away. But to be honest with you guys, not just that, but I had started having backache as well. I've never had chronic backache in my back, but now it started. Okay, so I thought to myself, you know what, I'm not gonna stress about it. I'm just gonna go through with it and everything else. I went back to work, and I promise you, I still could not get up normally from if I was seated. And people used to think that I was showing off, or I was just trying to be funny or anything like that, but it's not the case. The case is actually the epidural that had caused this, So everywhere I used to go, people would be like, "What's wrong?" First they would laugh, and then also, "What's wrong with you?" and whatever the case may be. And then I would tell them, this is the cause of having an epidural, okay? So they were like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yes, this is seriously, there was never anything wrong with me up until I had my epidural." And so that was just me talking, and then I thought to myself, let me Google this and see what people have to say about it. Obviously, the medical field raves about epidurals, because you have to understand that this makes their job a hell of a lot easier, because there's no screaming from the mother, there's no shouting from the mother, there's none of that. So it's actually beautifying childbearing, the epidural. That's what the epidural does for the medical staff. And for a mother to be going through this as well, it's a charm, it's lovely. But obviously I knew, in comparison with my first child and my second child, it wasn't beautiful. Okay, but with this one it was beautiful, because there was no agonizing pain, there was no screaming or shouting or anything like that. Not that this happened with my first one. Seriously, guys, I'm not a screamer, I'm not a shouter, I promise you. But anyway, so I read about this, and I kid you not, things that that I read from a medical point of view was in contrast to what a lot of women were saying. So what a lot of women are saying is that the epidural was not, the after effects are very negative, and I am proof of that, because at the end of the day things just are not the same anymore. So basically after my epidural, I've been experiencing extreme backache whenever I have my menstrual cycle, and you know, like a week or two before your cycle starts, you know, you get your cramps and everything else, and I get backache. And so to all you women out there, I just want to say that if you have to choose between normal birth and an epidural, then rather not have an epidural. If you can have normal birth, rather go for normal birth, because at the end of the day your recovery is so much faster compared to the recovery of an epidural. And now I'm talking about long term, because my son is 13 years old this year, and I promise you I still have backache. And I could be sitting anywhere, and out of the blue, getting up, I can't get up. Then I have to position myself, get myself ready, and then get out of my chair and do whatever I have to. So when I had my third child, I said to myself, you know what, I am not having an epidural, and no one's going to tell me otherwise. But that story about my third birth is another one. But yes, my advice to you ladies out there, if you can afford to, say no to the epidural. The other thing I forgot to tell you is that when the doctor told me about me needing to have an epidural, you know, he explained to me what could go wrong if he didn't administer an epidural to me at that time. The doctor said to me that what could possibly go wrong if I didn't have the epidural done, and for that reason I had the epidural, okay, because I was at risk of, I couldn't remember what could have gone wrong, but anyway, so for that reason I had to have the epidural done. However, if it had been under any normal circumstance, I would not have an epidural done. So please do your homework. Don't, if your doctor glorifies an epidural, if they advertise the epidural to you, don't just take their word for it. Do your homework and speak to your families, speak to your friends to hear what their experiences with epidurals was, because short term everything was good, but long term things were not so good. So do yourselves a favor and do your own research. This is my personal story once again. Thank you so much for listening. Leave your comments below for everyone else to read your comments. Maybe if you also had similar experience, or if you know somebody that had similar experience. But let's share the word out there to make women more conscious about the long-term effects of an epidural, because it's not nice. My son is 13 years old this year, and I've had this back problem now for 13 years, and I would not wish this on my worst enemy. Do I have enemies? I don't know. But thank you again guys for watching my channel. Don't forget to click and subscribe and like my video, and I will be back for more. Thank you everyone. You take care. Bye bye.